Hello, everybody, and welcome to Source Energy Collective. Excuse my fogginess. I just woke up. I could not sleep last night. The energies were intense. I woke up at 2:30, and of course, I'm trying to fast, so I'm starving. So I went downstairs and I had fucking chips and fucking like Nutella. So I'm like really irritated with myself this morning. But we did have an idea. Who we have today is Madeline and Larry and Jerry and Salish. Not Madeline, Micheline. Sorry, Micheline.
That's fine.
Um, did you guys want to come up and say hi?
Hello,
Don't be shy.
everybody. Good to see everybody.
Hello.
Hello there.
Good morning.
Hmm. So, one thing we did want to pull on, I've been seeing a lot of information just as I'm like scrolling and stuff like that about silver. And I just wanted to let you guys know that, like a long time ago, maybe in 2021, a lot of people on these channels were talking about silver. They were talking about buying bricks of silver. Silver at that point was very, very low. It was like $20 a coin. And, talking to other people, they have been saying that silver is going to climb for many, many, many years, and people stopped believing it. But now it's starting to happen. It is climbing, it's climbing exponentially every day. I have two amazing people who followed their intuition with the silver in this room, and they invested a lot and took a big risk and invested a lot, and it's coming to fruition. So that's the 3D stuff. So another thing that is coming through is an abundance, a kind of like revamping of the table, a redistribution of wealth, a kind of a leveling of the playing field. And I feel like silver and XRP are the tools to do that, taking away like the Wheel of Fortune, right? Taking away the all the money to the top and then redistributing it out evenly. Another thing that is coming through is that I don't know much about this. Maybe somebody can comment or somebody can fill in the blanks. But is it the United States? The United States and China are buying a lot of silver. There's a big kind of news thing going on with United States and China. I will pull up some news articles as we are pulling. So I will look into it as people are going to come in and talk to you about silver and their take on silver. So I'm going to mute and research.
Um, I can talk if unless Micheline or Larry want to jump in first. I can.
Go
Uh,
ahead, Jerry.
no. Okay. Yeah, I can go then. Yeah. Silver, obviously, everybody should know by now that it's used quite a bit in military weapons. It's used in a lot of electronics. It's extremely good for transferring electricity and energy. It's extremely conductive. Traditionally, it's God's money. It's been used forever. Some people would even go so far as to say it's the currency of the people. And historically, yeah, it's always been there, and it's been manipulated heavily. I think Larry could probably pop in and tell us a little bit more about how the manipulation has been. But yeah, as far as mining goes, here in BC, Canada. There's a old mining town of Barkerville where I did tours there, and they explained that in they have a small Chinatown in Barkerville, and the tour guide explained that the Chinese were in there mining gold, but they never had to report any of the gold that they took out of the mines, which is pretty telling when you hear stories like that, because what we're looking at here in Canada specifically, and you could say United States too, is that there is a let's say an infection of communism that's wanting to it's kind of taken over Canada already. And they're trying to do it in the United States. So there's a lot of foreign interference. Let's leave it at that. And so the way that we can get out of this let's say this pickle that we're in, is to start to take back our own energy. And money, currency, is considered it's an exchange for our energy. So crypto, yes, it will be used in the future. It'll probably be pegged to a lot of these metals and different things like that. But right now, it's about accumulating some silver, so that way we can all start to you know move forward in a way that's no longer being held back by a lot of the taxations, a lot of the manipulations, the inflation, all that. So the way forward for us is start to use what we have, and it is divine feminine energy as well is connected very much to silver. So the more that we're seeing astrologically, numerically, we're seeing the feminine energy rising, and we also see that here with silver as well. Larry, did you want to talk about some of the manipulation that has gone on historically a little bit, maybe?
Yeah, there of course has been manipulation going on for maybe four or five decades. It's silver, is a certain quality of silver, which 90% silver is, it's in the U.S. Constitution as that is required money, and nothing else is money. Now I know we're living in the fiat money system, which is money, Federal Reserve notes by decree. And the bullion banks, which are a lot of banks that do really control the price of silver, and the price of silver, it's really they control the price of paper silver. And they use that using on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. They actually sell silver, in paper and not in physical. So that really allows them to, if you're just dealing with paper money, like you're dealing with fiat Federal Reserve notes. So the manipulation, there's a whole industry in manipulation. Scotiabank, J.P. Morgan, Bank of America, they've all been in and out of a lot of these contracts. And the standard contract of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange represents 5,000 ounces. So obviously, if they dump a lot of paper contracts onto the market can crash 10 to 20% because there's no buyers. The buyers disappear. So it has been manipulated. Their hold has been, slipping, because I think over 2025, I think the lowest price is probably around $30 an ounce, and the highest was somewhere in the 80s in U.S. dollars. So that's quite a rise in the year. But recently, the bullion banks have restricted, or in cooperation with the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, have increased the deposits needed for cash, that you have to have available in order to even place a 5,000 ounce futures contract. So that's restricted. And I know that looking at some people on YouTube, they've tried to sell some silver to dealers, but the market has been somewhat locked up for maybe over the last several days, and they go try to sell, but the bullion buyers, typical coin shop, they can't resell their silver immediately, because they don't like to hold it. They like to offer you maybe 5%, 6% less than the spot price, and then they sell it for maybe 1% less, and they can pick up a quick 5%, in a matter of hours. But that has slowed down recently, so it's but it still will has a great future. I think if someone, there will be, if there are some tower moments coming up, I suspect that there will be a price drop in silver. So that's basically where I see it, but it's long term, great investment.
You're saying there's going to be a price drop in silver?
I think
Well, let's
they're
say it's subject to a price drop. From if there's a tower moment, which as you're aware, Marcia, there are a lot of people that are predicting a tower moment. Might even happen at the end of this month. You don't know. I mean, is the U.S. government going to shut down again? Are there revelations coming up? Are there I could say, is there a alien aliens appearing among us? There's a number of things that are the Epstein files going to finally be released? There are there's some potential blips in
yeah.
the market, and there it could, because they also they see the bullion banks are running a very very high negative paper loss of some say $15 billion or something. So their desire is to bring the price down so they can cover those contracts.
It
So
wasn't.
there may be, I mean, some of them may
Wasn't.
go bankrupt. Yeah, Jerry, go on.
No, I wanted to ask you. Did in the States there? I think in Canada too that they used to use silver, didn't they? In the actual change.
Oh yeah. All the all the coins. Yeah, we had silver dollars from the 1800s. Yeah, you
Yeah.
printed
Didn't
them.
they call that junk
Morgan
silver?
silvers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that junk
and
silver?
yeah, those are formerly the silver dollars from Morgan silver dollars. Um, from the 1800s, and the junk silver are the Mercury and the Roosevelt dimes, and the quarters, and the Franklin half dollars that were minted, I guess, prior to, I think it might be 1963 or something like that.
Mm,
So
okay.
they're all of those is the junk silver, what it's called, junk silver, and it's I believe it's 90% silver.
Beautiful. Micheline, you have anything that you wanted to comment on at all?
Well, I wanted Larry to talk about how banks are shorting silver. That's very important. I don't know if you know a little bit about that, Larry.
Yeah, there are people, someone like, if you look at Bix Weir on YouTube, he follows the silver market very closely, keeps a lot of statistics on it, how and literally gets a good look at the data, how exactly they are short. Now I heard they were, at the moment they have 18 billion in losses, maybe 15 billion, but these numbers fluctuate daily. So if you want to look at Bix Weir on YouTube, he is on top of the silver market, and he's very, very, he's been on top of it for 20 years, by the way.
Well, there must be
Yes.
something to all those. Yeah, there must be something to all those sayings, eh? IO silver, silver bullet, silver lining.
Definitely.
Well, perhaps we can all talk. I don't know who here is invested in silver. I can talk for myself, of course. None of us are financial advisors. We can only talk about our personal experience. And silver was a part of a conversation back in March of 2020. And if you remember where you were in March of 2020, there was a lot going on in the world. I don't know what we can say.
Really? Really, what was going on in March of 2020?
Let's say there was a huge shift and many countries shut down and we're all at home, unable to go anywhere really. And then I heard my prime minister say, I'm in Canada, by the way, that the food chain would be affected. And he said this the 1st of April, 2020. And then he said also there would be only one way out of the situation we were in, and that we were not opening the country. Back, it had already been 2 weeks now that we were all at home sitting around, yeah. And when he said we were not opening the country, that really, that my spidey senses just were activated in a huge way. And I started researching. I'm going, this is, if the food chain is going to be affected, and what does that mean exactly? And it took a long time because I think that, the grocery stores are still open. They never really shut down. And I didn't see any of that, but that was predicted in 2020 happening. It's maybe happening now. There's a delay, a 6-year delay. That's where, Jerry is talking about the gardening and return to the earth. And it's basically a return to the reverence of life. That's another conversation. But I'm just saying that
Stay
I'm
on
just saying
track,
that,
Micheline.
no, but what I'm saying is that this idea of no food in stores got me thinking, and it got me thinking about things I'd never thought about before. And silver became a topic of conversation. And I started researching and listening to just anybody. And that would be, I started listening to Robert Kiyosaki, then David Morgan. And these are people, and Bix Weir that Larry
I
mentioned.
love David Morgan. He's a lot of fun.
And that got me, I started looking at what are the big money doing with their money. And they were buying Bitcoin, gold, and silver. And so I said, well, if that's what they're doing, I'm going to do that. And that's what I did. And eventually Bitcoin, I started looking into more cryptos. And Ethereum came into my awareness, and XRP, XLM, Uniswap. I had like 11 different types of cryptos at one point.
Yeah,
And
those cryptos are the ones you're talking about. They're set up for potential cross-border payments, so they actually have some actual value to them. They're not just a meme coin, right? Is that what you're talking about?
so
Have some
for 18
utility.
months, I put most of my money into the crypto market, and I had a very small RSP that I called the bank. I said, okay, I want to convert it into gold and silver, but they knew nothing about that then. Anyway, not Royal Bank. They couldn't help me, but they were willing to cash my RSP and give me, the cash, taking the 30%, and that's what I did, which was a mistake. Don't do that. So I paid the taxes. It was a very small RSP, so I got it all back by now. But and so I took the hit. I took the 30% hit. I took the cash, and then I went to Silver Gold Bull, and I bought my first ounces of silver with what was left. As I said, it was a small amount at the beginning, but then the crypto started going really well, and eventually I was able. Silver Gold Bull would take your Bitcoin for gold and silver, and so before the big crash of 21, so for 18 months I invested an amount, and I did very well, and I turned all my profits into gold and silver.
Awesome. Did you
Mostly
feel like an
silver.
empowerment? Did you feel like an empowerment during this process, as opposed to, not having to rely on what some talking head on TV was telling you?
Well, the
Are you
talking
feeling
heads on TV would tell me I'm crazy, and so did everybody else around me. So I started not talking to anybody about it. I would talk hypothetically about silver. I was very generous. For about 2 years, I spoke to everybody about the potentiality of silver, without
absolutely?
necessarily, I was quite passionate about it. Because if you're going to be rich, it's nice to have rich friends too. Like you want everybody to be, well, anyway, this is the way that I see things, is that I want everyone to elevate. You don't want to be rich all by yourself. You want your friends to be able to enjoy the abundance. And so I did a lot of networking. Anybody I did so much networking. I mean, I would engage people hours over, they had questions and I was all ready. But I've noticed over time that I think it's a consciousness thing, because people were not willing to, they thought it all very interesting.
No, they
And
they,
then
they
I
still
thought I
trust.
was just spitballing for nothing, because
Yeah, they
very
still
little
trust.
people, pardon me?
They still trust the talking heads. That's why, because at that time they're and a lot of fear kind of blocks them out, right?
But I will say that I had my own fears. I had to work through those fears, and they were physical. I mean, I felt the nausea. I felt the instability. I felt the vertigo. We spoke about that, Marcia and I, on another talk. So yeah, but the thing is I was inwardly guided to do this.
Yeah.
It was divinely guided in my case, because I was not taking care of my finances at all. It was my ex-husband who was doing it, and and I trusted his judgment, but he
So
was ignoring very important things that were happening in the world. So I decided I would, I became a very sovereign person.
okay,
And
so
and then
you're
eventually
speaking my language.
mm,
You're really speaking my language, sovereign, right there. So when you got your first piece of silver, how did it feel to you? Like when you actually had it in your hand?
I felt a security and a safety. I felt that whatever happens with the banks, whatever happens with the government, whatever, I have a piece of something,
Substance. Yeah.
substance. And of course, we are all these spiritual beings, and, we're the source energy collective here. And a lot of people think that we don't need money. We don't need this. We don't need. The thing is that it's not a question of enriching yourself. Although I cannot say I'm not unwealthy, but I'm just saying that that was not my goal. It was not about becoming wealthy. It was about becoming free.
Beautiful. Beautiful. You nailed it.
And that pull of wanting that freedom was strong enough for me to just push through the fear.
Awesome.
And that's my personal experience.
Awesome, Micheline. Awesome. Yeah, you talked about who did you mentioned Bricks? Who was that gentleman you mentioned, Larry? Bix, the guy. What's his
Bix
name?
Big,
Weir.
yeah.
Yeah, and what was the other one?
His
Morgan,
YouTube,
right? David Morgan.
David Morgan, Robert
Yeah,
Kiyosaki. He wrote the book Rich Man, Poor Man.
right.
Uh,
Oh
Bix Weir
yes.
on YouTube is Road to Ruta. That's
There
his
you
YouTube.
guys go. There's a shout out for you. Okay, I'll jump in with the first tarot read unless there's any objections here.
I did pull a card, and I find
Yay.
it's so
You
interesting, and
go.
it was the Wheel of Fortune. So, you know, and also I have my little, it's called a little guide deck, and new beginnings.
Yoo-hoo!
Yeah. There is something to this. I mean, not everyone, when I found out that only 1% of Canadians own silver and gold, it's just astonishing to me. Because when you think of gold, gold has not lost its value. It's, you know, in Roman times, you could buy a beautiful attire with 1 ounce of gold. And today you can do the same.
Yep.
But-
Yeah.
And
100%.
that's how you know that it's a store of value. And that's what we're talking about. And gold and silver now, if you want to just look at the economics, in times of inflation and hyperinflation, it's been a cornerstone in helping the people. And I want to say one more thing about how in 1933, I think it was Roosevelt, who I think he banned gold, or there was a law that was passed where you had to hand over the gold to the government. But people are not saying that it was only for 2 months. So some people did not hand over their gold.
Yeah,
Not everybody
they were
did.
actually going to give you 10 years in prison if you weren't going to do that. They were threatening you with violence.
But that threat was only for
Yeah.
2 months, and then it didn't last.
No.
And so if
No.
our government comes and say, you have to hand over all of your metals, just hang on. Just watch, observe.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Larry, did you want to, or Marcia, did you want to jump in?
Yeah,
for
I
a
just
tarot
wanted
read?
to fill you guys in. I'm like looking on Chat GPT, asking Chat to pull up all news articles about silver related to China and the US. And this is taking me a long time because they're not giving it to me.
No
So
problem.
you
Do you
have
want
to
me to
ask
do it?
yourself, why, right? So I had to ask them, like, this has nothing to do with silver. They're talking to me about tariffs and all this stuff. And I'm like, so crazy. And I'm like, this has nothing to do with silver. Give me silver related to US and China. Again, with the tariffs and the trade wars and all this stuff, nothing about silver. Now I asked them one more time, and finally, so there is definitely some manipulation. Some chains are still on. So yeah, I find that really, really interesting. I did pull some cards, but Jerry, you go ahead first.
All right, sure. Okay, so I got the root, I got the Ten of Swords. So it's either the death of the way that's been viewed at, the way it's been manipulated, the way that people are viewing it, the way that it's being thunk about, if that's a word, we can say thunk about. It is a feminine currency. It is a feminine energy, and it is in the past. It has been, of course, has been manipulated. But we're about what's going on right now. And so right now there is a celebration because we are seeing silver. But we're not going to talk about gold, but I mean it's going up too. But this is a show about silver, and yes, it is going up right now. And here you go, Micheline. I got new beginnings. It's a new energy. It's going to be epic. Let's just leave it at that, so that way other people can talk too, right? And it's going to be used in the age of Aquarius. So it's all about this whole new technological age where silver has to be used. It's going to be used quite effectively. And so there's a rebalancing. So like usually I think silver, and you guys can correct me, maybe Larry or Micheline's know that silver is generally, I think it's something like supposed to be 6-1 to gold or 9-1 to gold. I can't remember what the exact
It's
number is.
7-1. It's
Which
7
one?
to 1. 7-1.
7-1. Okay, perfect. And yeah, here you go, Marcia. You gotta like this card. You can pull that one lots yesterday. Got the Lovers card. So I think it's going to join up with gold and being used quite more fluently in the future. And there'll probably be other ones too. I mean, I think there's like platinum and there's different coppers going to be probably making a run. But I did get a couple of clarifiers, and yeah, they can't hold back the price of silver anymore. It's just going to go right up, and some people are still they're just not wanting to receive. They're not getting on the ball with that, so they're still sitting there pouty about the way that things are going, and they're not taking advantage of what possibly could be generational wealth.
Yes, generational wealth. That's something that I've been thinking about a lot. And it's definitely going to happen to many people because silver is projected to be it's going to go par with gold. Something that I think we're not many people are aware of, and what was explained to me is that there's a lot of gold in the world. Silver thing is that we use the silver in our technologies. So once we put the silver, we use it, we lose it. And it's the best conductor in the world. And I think that it was mentioned earlier that we use it in everything. It's in all our technologies now, but we'll be using it even more so because of its conductive ability.
Properties. Yeah.
Exactly.
And isn't okay, so isn't okay, they actually don't go mining for silver, do they? They actually mine for gold, and then silver is a byproduct of mining for gold. Is that right, Larry? Do you know anything about that? Maybe Larry could tell us.
Yeah, it's actually silver is a byproduct of even mining of nickel, mining
Oh,
of copper. So it's a
that's
number
interesting.
of metals. As the silver is more prevalent near the surface, and
Interesting.
it's there's not there's been a lot of silver mined over the centuries, and it is becoming more scarce.
Hmm. Interesting.
You
Interesting.
know, and the interesting thing about gold mines, gold mines can go 1 mile underground. You can follow the veins, and there's quite different. Silver's more of a surface metal, and it's a lot of people again geochemically they separate the various minerals.
Does that cost more to mine silver then than it would be to another metal like copper or gold or anything else? Would you
No, it's
assume?
it's help it's helpful that it's near the surface, of course,
Mm.
as opposed to if you look at some of the deep mines in South Africa, you might have to take a 1 hour elevator down to get to the where the gold vein is.
Wow.
The 7-to-1 ratio has to do with the mining, doesn't it, Larry?
I I I think it has to do with the presence of the metal on Earth.
Okay.
Okay. Marcia, are you going to jump in?
Yeah, so what I'm finding out over just reading some articles on silver and gold related to China and US, there is definitely something going on. So China just tightened up the export of silver. So they want to, let me just see. Uh, Demand in China, particularly for industrial uses in precious metal markets, remains high. Where is that section where it said? So what pretty much I can't find the section, but what pretty much they did was just kind of like tightened up restrictions on sending silver and trading silver. And that's China's total game, right? They want to be at the top in control of everything, right? And so what's happening? So that is making silver scarce. And I think a little bit before Jerry was like, you can't buy silver. That's why. So then another thing that is happening is the US is doing the exact opposite. So in that they're both upping the demand for silver. So the US is saying, um, it said in here that the demand for silver in the United States in trade and in also like technology is increasing with whatever they're doing. So I'm just going to read the summary because it took me a while to read the whole thing. Silver prices are in strong uptrend with unusually high momentum after the historic 2025 rally and continued gains in 2026. China's export controls and inventory tightness are creating supply scarcity that underpins prices. US macro conditions, rate outlook, and critical mineral designation are boosting demand on investors and institutions. Short-term volatility and technical risks remain, but structural supply and demand dynamics are supporting silver's strong performance. So there's a
Right.
big global shift happening, and people are trying to still, this is the chains, right? People are still trying to chain up silver and influence and manipulate the growth of silver. So it just seems so shocking to me. Like, why is that? Right? That would be a really great tarot pull. But my tarot pull right now, do you guys want to
Okay.
hear it?
Please, please. Yeah.
I asked the momentum of silver. Can you tell me what the momentum of silver? But remind me, Jerry, why did they put it in chains? That's another tarot pull that I want to do. So the momentum of silver is the future forecast and the timeline that we're on right now is projected to be silver would be a way of remembrance, a way to a better times. This is like the past. This is like our true divine nature. This is the Six of Cups. So silver is a way for that. And that's exactly what I said. That's exactly the intuition, right? It's like the balancing of the playing field. It's a way of unifying humanity. It's a way of unifying the collective. And what's coming through right now, and I know that that is one of my perspectives, but it is fairly loud in my intuition right now, is exactly what we've been talking about, is that silver is going to be used to level out the playing field, to bring us back to a remembrance of the times where there was abundance for all. And there's going to be a time of unity consciousness where everybody, like what Micheline said, she wants to share, right? There's a common theme around people that watch this channel, people that participate in this channel. There is a lot of like service orientation, of sharing, of wanting not only for ourselves but for all. You know, that's going to come up. That's what this card says to me.
It's
So
beautiful.
this is the Empress. And so the Empress, just looking into, like, I just love tarot because it just evolves like every day, right? So the Empress is absolutely a figure of Mother Earth, abundance, aligned with nature, aligned, like if you see her card, she's sitting in so much abundance, right? That can talk to silver being the root and the tool for that. She's also about fertility, and the timing of the Empress is also about like sometimes she's shown, like you can see she kind of looks pregnant. So it's kind of like it's going to take time to gestate. It's going to take time to form in the belly. The baby is forming in the belly. A lot of us here are like, let's go, let's do this, right? But you can't rush the forming of a baby in the belly. So it's going to take a little bit of time. But as the baby forms in the belly, there's little toes, there is little hair. You know, it's not just staying stagnant, right? It's like it's growing, and we just have to trust that it's growing, but we just can't see it. So that's what the Empress says to me. And the justice is the fact that I feel this card is saying that the chains on silver, the chains on our financial system, the manipulations on the financial system are going to go through a justice, are going to go through a time of revelation where the people are going to see this, and the people are going to be able to move away from paper money because they're going to see how manipulated it is, and they're going to move towards like actual like ores, actual like gold and silver, even like Bitcoin and stuff. That is like less physical than actual money. It's just in the air, right? So I don't even
Yeah.
know about Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just kind of me. uh like it says I have all this money in Bitcoin, but like I don't actually have all this money in Bitcoin. They can tell me I have no money in Bitcoin, and it would be the same thing, like it's in the air. So I don't know why Bitcoin is so big. Ace of Wands, even though that it's gestating in the way that it's like, I feel like the environment is creating its, and and kind of
New
like,
energy. Yeah.
well, it's like it's laying the foundation, right? So this card talks to me about the foundation around silver. It's because it's like that soil. It's like if you up your soil game and do the mycelium thing, this is what it is. It's the foundation around the plant. The foundation around the silver is getting the Ace of Wands energy. It's getting the
Yeah.
fire, the passion, the growth.
Yeah.
Jerry, you had the ace, you had that same
Yeah,
ace.
but thank you. But and you also had the new beginnings, and Marcia, we can also maybe what I was getting while you were reading that is that it's that fire horse here is the wands is the fire,
Mhm.
right? So maybe it's like part of the one, right? So and yeah, there was something I was going to say, but I lost it. But it doesn't matter. Keep going, please.
And then the Five of Cups. So the Five of Cups, maybe because these two are together, maybe we should read them together. Five of Cups is being left out in the cold, a lot of heartbreak, a lot of depression, a lot of harder energies, but the Ace of Wands is fixing that. So it's like, it's again the first cards, right? The leveling of the playing field. Um, and then you guys are gonna love this one. The Temperance and the Magician.
Mm.
Jerry, go. You can do this.
The temperance and the magician. Yeah, so obviously we're looking at a balancing, we're looking at a equalization. So this is the way that the humble begin to acquire, and it's about using the elements. And if you're standing in your magic, if you're standing within your sovereign self, that's what the magician, right? And look at the eight; it's got the abundance in there. So you're balanced, and when we're in fear, we're gonna lose when we're in fear, because if we're standing within the power of the magician, and we've already tempered our beingness, then yeah, all abundance will flow to us. Beautiful, beautiful reads, you
All right.
guys.
So, balance. This is what it says to me, balance and the magician. We've been learning a lot about manifestation and the actual kind of like science and the actual kind of like process of manifestation. So, just one little tidbit about manifestation is we got to let go of the when is it going to happen, when is it going to happen, what is happening, what is happening. We're just going to just forget about it, stop putting, and that needs to be on a collective level. We know it's happening. We are aligned with the fact that it's going to be a level playing field, so we are aligned. We need to act like we are there when we're grocery shopping, when we're driving the kids, when we're doing that. Act as if we're there and then let it go. Do not think about it. This has to be done, I feel, on a collective level, because any of the perturbations around like the need and the want, I've done it before with the selling of my house,
Hmm.
it blocks it, right? When you let it go, it brings it on. There's no kind of like waves for it to go through. It'll come zoom to you. So that's what the temperance, that's what the temperance and the magician means. It's a balancing, right? It's a knowing that you are already aligned with that timeline that is already happening. You are living in it. And then the magician, it's like that knowing of the surrender. And yes, you've manifested it. So now it's the next step of just letting it go. So just one more.
Beautiful.
And one thing that did come through as Jerry was talking was that the meek will inherit the earth, and that one was from Micheline yesterday. So Ace of Cups and the Nine of Swords. Micheline, do you want to go?
Well, all these emotions, right? And so much intuition. It can be actually, you see, I see it in both polarity. So I'll start with the negative. The negative is, well, that Ten of Swords, right? So the Ten of Swords is
Nine.
connecting.
Nine of
Oh, it's a
Swords. Nine
nine?
of Swords. Yeah.
Well, even better. It's all this anxiety about change that is it's not necessary.
That's
It's
right.
not
Yeah.
necessary. Follow your intuition.
Yeah.
Follow the intuition. And I think the biggest thing here is trust. You have to trust the divine. Like we had the Temperance card. The Temperance card for me is divine timing. So, when we're talking about think about what you want, manifest, put out the intention, then let it go. And then let the divine timing take care of that, right? That's what you were talking about earlier. Both of you actually were talking about this. And then, so that cup, is really with the nine of swords is anxiety, unwarranted anxiety. You know, we're going to fall into the arms of the divine. That's what's happening. We have to disentangle ourselves from this system that has not been feeding us. It's been feeding on, well, it's been feeding
Can
on
I
us.
get a hell yeah, an amen to that?
Yeah. And this is where that's when the programming, you know, is going to be pushed aside. And the thing is that we're going to see things like we've never seen before with the financial system. It's going to push our consciousness. It's going to push our triggers. It's going to push us in because we need to say no. That's not what we want, but they need to show us how far this has been going on. You know, like people
And we
don't
also got
realize
the justice card too. The
the
justice
just
card, both of us. So that's a like a law coming in where it's going to bring that maybe that equivalency of you said 7-1, Micheline?
the 7-1, if I remember correctly, just to add on to what Larry said, is that for each ounce of gold that is mined, there's 7 ounces of silver that are mined, like it, because a silver is not as deep into the earth, so they can mine for the same amount of time it would take to mine. I think you can mine 7 ounces to 1. I think that's where I might be. I think I remember hearing this, but yeah. So remember that 9 of Swords. The 9 of Swords, the swords in the Rider-Waite, they're not going. They're not vertical. They are. Aren't they lateral? They're horizontal.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it means that it's in your mind. It's not real. You know, the system has already been taken down. They are holding us by the hand. Okay.
Yep.
This is the show that we're seeing. We're going to be okay. And I know this, what we're talking about is silver. And maybe you're still sitting at home thinking, I'm not going to do that. I don't have money to buy silver. And that is okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to be okay.
Nobody's going to get left behind. There's going to be
No.
like cryptocurrency. It's not a show about cryptocurrency, but we are going to have like exactly what you said. The new sexy is going to be sharing with others. It's going to be helping others. And what we're doing here is we're helping to bring people towards something. It's okay to come to something new. It's okay to let go of the old system because it's no longer in alignment with where we're going, right? So
No, and what did I want to say? So you can also see this. The way is buying silver is beating the system. It's accelerating the disentanglement, accelerating the crash. Okay, it really is because you're taking the money out of banks, right? And so if you want to be a tool to accelerate what we want in the end, then buy an ounce or 2 or 3 or 100 or whatever, you know, whatever you can.
Yep.
You can be a cooperative component to the disentanglement of the system so that the sovereign civilian can, you know, take a stand. You can see it that way.
And Marcia, your empress there, and metaphorically, if she's giving birth to silver, I think her water broke this last month.
No. That's a really good analogy.
So I asked about why are they keeping silver down so much? Like, what is up with all this manipulation of the silver so much, right? And what is coming through, I don't know, this is just what the cards and my intuition are saying to me, is that the clarifiers was the Lovers and the Three of Pentacles. The 3 is the unity of the collective on earth, the abundance and the unity, the 2 together of the earth, right? Showing you that there is enough abundance for everybody, and that's what they don't want. They don't want that because the lovers is like the balancing card, like it's also a card to talk about balance and unity, right? So if people are in like abundance, they're going to lose a lot of power. So that's why the manipulations of the silver have been happening so much. It also goes beyond the silver. It goes to finances. It goes to everything. It goes to our fiat currency, our debt system. It goes to everything. It goes to our pharmaceuticals, right? It's all a system to keep us away from this knowing that we are abundant, we are together, we are all one. Collectively, there is enough for everybody on the earth. Collectively, there is enough abundance with the earth. The earth and us are one, and the balancing, right? So that was the reason the cards have said that to me. And also, a lot of things are coming through about intuition. It's like what we've been talking about so much in this channel is you need to follow your intuition and away from all the programs. It takes a lot. Like it took a lot for Jerry and Micheline to put their money. It was a big risk. They suggested that I do that, sell my house and put it all in silver. I couldn't do that. It was too much of a big risk. I'm not a gambler. I've never been a gambler, right? So I was like, no, I'm just gonna buy a house. And so like now what's happening in BC is that they're telling us that we don't own our house. And
So
Sorry,
crazy.
it's not funny, but you gotta laugh at the madness.
so fucking funny. It's like you don't own your house; they belong to the Indigenous people. The land belongs to the Indigenous people. But the reason I'm bringing that up is because I had a chance, and there was no way I could take the money from selling the house and put it into silver because half of it belongs to my husband too, and he's not on this path, right? And so. Um, that is the thing about following your intuition, breaking out of the box of the structure. And it's fucking hard, right? Because
It's
we've
very
been
difficult. It's
indoctrinated.
very difficult. And so, my heart goes out to anyone who's at the beginning of this path because it was not an easy path.
No, it's
But
not.
I'll
The
tell you,
people,
there is no risk. I will tell you, there is no risk. We haven't spoken about what's going on in more than half the world. We are
ooh,
very
lots is going
behind
on.
here. Okay, we're behind. We're
Yeah,
a
a lot
little,
is going on.
we're a little backwards here in the
Yeah.
Western world.
And
Okay, I
we
mean,
and they tell us that we are the country, we are where the American dream happens and all this stuff, but yet they keep us like slow and stupid and fat, really.
it's
Because they want
Wally. It's the Walt Disney's Wally. We're living
yeah,
it.
yeah. We're all in fantasy land, right? Like so much is happening around the world, so fucking much, and it's not being talked about on the news. You gotta ask yourself why. So the Queen of Wands, our girl, Micheline, she is here. She has also evolved from the super shiny star to the fucking witch, right?
She's badass.
She is
Yeah.
badass. So she knows her intuition. She knows what she wants. She stands firm in what she wants, even though other people don't see what she sees, right?
Right.
And then the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles is the silver will be grounded. This is a good future card because the silver is going to come to fruition, but we're in the gestation mode right now. So we don't know. We just gotta, it's happening. It's already happening, right? So I didn't buy a ton of silver. I bought like just like with XRP, whatever money, again, I'm not a gambler, and whatever money I had left to play with, which wasn't a lot, right? Having kids and mortgages and all that, the debt system, right? So it's like you have a tiny bit that you can play with. And that's what I use to accumulate like things like this, like silver, coins of silver, like $100 here and there of XRP. And you know what? It's like accumulated. And if this happens, if my intuition is true, it's going to level out the playing field a little bit for me. Right. So it's like
Well,
follow your intuition, you know?
your the intuition is very important, but I will
Mhm.
tell you, there's very little risk now. Okay, like we're not in the same world we were in even 3-4 years ago. And so, I mean, I took a big risk in 2020 and I sold my house in October. And yes, I put all the profit in silver. I don't have it in my home because it's just too much. And I have no regrets. But I've been looking at the ducks in a row. You know, things don't manifest. We all know about that. They don't manifest as soon as we think about them. It takes a time to gestate, and then it's in the energy 99% or 99.99999, and then it gets into our material world. But I've been looking to see the ducks in a row, to see if I was right about, because, you know, I didn't buy tons of silver and gold at the beginning. You know, I went gradually in. There's more risk to leaving the money in the bank. Like if you have large sums of money in the bank, I strongly recommend, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just telling you what I've done. And I'm looking at what's going on in BRICS. I'm looking at what's going on elsewhere in the world. I'm looking at the pressures on the banks. I'm looking at the shortages in the banks. And I'm looking at history. You know, this is not intuition. This is like hardcore facts. This is in the material world. And I tell you, there's a shift happening. It's already happened. And it's not going to stray. We're not going back to the old world. It's done. It's over. It's impossible to go back. It's impossible to go back. And so risk, I did not even feel, I've never gambled in my life. Okay, once I went to the casino with 2 girlfriends, I invested $20. Then I made $20, and then I bought tea for everyone, I think. So it was a $20 gig. That's all I've ever did. I was never a gambler. I was a part-time piano teacher. I was a home schooling mother for 10 years. So I don't have a bachelor's in finances or economics, not at all.
I don't think we
That
can go
was where
too
the
wrong.
intuition came.
Yeah,
So I'm
I
just
don't think we can go
saying,
too wrong buying silver, gold, diamonds, any kind of minerals now. I think even land right now is going to be worth a lot. It's more about those kind of resources. And I think crypto will come along after that, and they'll just be pegged to a lot of these material resources in the future. So that way they actually have some credibility. Hey, Larry, Micheline mentioned about the bricks. Are you pretty familiar with the bricks, and do you want to jump in and give an explanation of the bricks at all, Larry? I think he's
I
trying
just
to.
have to
There.
say, I
Yeah,
love you. Mary. I love you so much.
yeah. It is. You know, BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China,
Oh my
and
God.
South Africa. So it's a group of you know, quite developing countries that have, you know, formed a organization where, you know, they want to act together to benefit each other, and to, you know, have favorable trade among each other. And they represent, half the world population almost.
more than half. And there are more countries now that have allied with them too.
Yeah, they have. I think there's probably another 30 countries that are. They're not formally within the BRICS, but they are acting with them. And China had its Belt and Road Initiative, bringing in a lot of those countries. So it's a play by them to reduce the influence of the West. And they are, of course, they're probably the key is, they still, many countries have their reserve banks, which, they which are really controlling the money supply and interest rates. So which is the old Western system, initiated by the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the big bankers. So it still hasn't quite played out yet. It's playing out now, but the BRICS would like to reduce the influence and power of the West, and for their own benefit, basically. And it's still in play. Well, we don't know the end yet.
Well, from what I understand is that we're all signed up to BRICS in the background, Canada as well. It's just not officially. So this is, of course, rumors. So we'll see how it all pans out. But I'm thinking of that card that Jerry pulled earlier, the Queen of Pentacles. She's very patient, the Queen of Pentacles. She holds that pentacle in her hands, but it didn't manifest overnight. She was very, very patient. And when we were talking earlier that no one will be left behind, you see, that it would make sense. I mean, Saudi Arabia, they're part of that. That's huge. I mean, there's so much. That's why when I talk about ducks in a row, that's what I'm talking about, is that, we're not aware of everything that's been happening for so many reasons, not to create a panic in the world.
Yeah.
They have to kind of spoon feed us a little bit just so that, some people would go crazy, because when you start playing around with money, you're talking about safety and security, and that can really be a big trigger for, I would say, probably 99.9% of people living on Earth. So, they have to be careful with what they want. They don't want civil war. They don't want people to kind of lose it and maybe even, harm others. And so they're,
and it's been people die for pocket change in the streets. We've done despicable things to other countries. We've thrown leaders out because they wanted to create their own currency. Hey, Marcia, did you come up with any of the countries that aren't signed up?
The BRICS members are Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And the new members added in 2024-2025 expansion are Iran, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, whatever, Egypt, Ethiopia. So BRICS equals 10 countries at present. So pretty much the crown countries are not United States, Canada, United Kingdom, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, South Korea, Australia. They are not. Mexico, Indonesia, Turkey, Israel, Ukraine, and Argentina are not. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I did pull, this has been an amazing conversation. I did pull some messages from Mother Earth. I'm wondering if you guys want to pull the end messages from Mother Earth. And I got the guidance of the fish. So I'm just going to let my intuition lead me on this and not read the little blurb at the end. So the guidance of the fish, those are goldfish living in a fishbowl. So this is humanity and the collective, and what we have been doing is we have been living in a fishbowl. We have been fed what we are allowed to see, what we are allowed to know. And we are swimming around in circles thinking that this is our world, right? So a lot of expansion will be happening. We do not live in a fishbowl. And then the guidance of the black sheep. So to me, these cards are interconnected. How do we get out of the fishbowl is we become the black sheep. I have been the black sheep my whole life. It's actually not that bad. So just kind of like step out of the norm, step out of like the regular. It's kind of fun, it wasn't fun when I was a kid. It was actually quite horrible. But as I'm growing up, I'm like, you know, asking myself, why do I want to fit into that? Right? I don't want to fit into that. You know, why do I want to be a part of that? Right? I don't. So it's just little questions like that, kind of enticing you to think for yourself, right? Away from like what you've been told to think, you know? And it's an adventure. It's exciting. It's like, what is it that's beyond, right? Like, do you believe in aliens? I was talking to my massage person. We had the best conversation. He was telling me about reading David R. Hawkins, and I was telling him about the map of consciousness, and I was telling him about all these different things, right? I don't know if he's part of the line to this thing. And I was like, you probably think I'm a conspiracy theorist right now, because I was like, do you believe in aliens? He's like, yes, I do. So it's just things like that, right? Like having that conversation with others, if you have the courage just to have surface conversations with others, will help the collective break out of the box and become more like the black sheep, right? Bye, Larry. I love you so much.
That was
All
beautiful.
right.
Great job. Swimming in a fishbowl year
Swimming in a
after year.
fishbowl.
Going over the same old ground have we found. That's one of my favorite songs. Michelin, did you want to go next? Ladies first?
I got two cards. The first is the Seven of Wands. And so the Seven of Wands, I see that as, you know, you're defending your own point of view.
Don't
And
touch my silver.
don't touch my silver. And then the back of the deck is
The
truth
queen.
straight up,
Awesome.
you
The
know, and she
decapitator.
has a silver sword. So, oh, and then here comes that gateway, you see, the gateway to everything we want. You know, I just want to say again that it's not about the wealth. It's not about that. The wealth comes with it. It's about standing up for what is right. And oh my goodness, I'm going to go on. Look, this is what's on the next one. So, you know, it's manifesting what we want and using it and using our resources as a tool. And where we were talking about Mother Earth, and silver is a resource of Mother Earth.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And
Go
Mother
ahead.
Earth does not discriminate. She wants all her children to be in abundance, right? Like, who does not want you to be in abundance, you know? And it's like walking away from thinking that we're all so fucking in lack and all these things. You got to see beyond that, right? And align with, if you're going to be in that vibration, you're going to attract that vibration. So my suggestion, again, huge disclaimer for this whole video is we are not financial advisors. We are not making any claims. We are just sharing what we have done, right? This is in our opinion. So use your discernment, take it or leave it, search within your heart, go talk to a financial advisor if you want to talk to a financial advisor, right? Do that. But like Mother Earth wants us all in abundance, and we need to align with that energy of abundance and stop aligning with the energy of lack. Like whenever I do my budget, I'm like, I am abundant. I align with abundance. I have more than enough, right? So it's still simple things. When you're driving in your car, just know you have the life that you want, you envision. Do some imagination, do some like
Beautiful.
symbols, right?
Yeah.
Manifest. And then
Well,
let it go.
abundance is your birthright.
100%.
It's that simple. Like
I like
that.
what you said there, Micheline. You know what? And maybe you were actually promoting Klaus Schwab there, where he says, in
Oh God.
2030 you'll have nothing and you'll be happy.
So in Canada, they're totally doing that, like without saying that, right? Because they're now, oh my God. And did you see that reel of like the person in New York City? There's a reel out. They said this yesterday. They were like, You know, we have to start moving away from people owning their own homes because that is very egotistical. It comes from ego to want to own your own home. So we're going to move into the collective, a collective owning of homes. What the fuck, right? Like you will own nothing and be happy. It's like they're doing it without saying it. Look it up. Everybody watching, looking it up. That was New York City. Some politician said this. It's all over social media right now. It's insane. And the thing that's happening in BC, you will own nothing and be happy. They're gonna come up with some stuff. But we do have to end this video. So why don't we do
I got one
the
card for you.
oh yeah, sorry, babe.
Yeah.
So
No,
I
that's
called
okay.
you babe.
No,
Oh
it's all good.
no.
It's all good. I actually I wanted to comment a little bit too. You are right, but I think there's always with the darkness, there's always a half truth in there. Like there is some validity to what they're saying. It's just way that yeah. It's a long story to get into. Maybe we'll talk about it on another one.
Now
But
we could have a whole video about the inversion of reality. They're inverted.
yeah,
They're inverted. They're using that
that's it.
collective idea that can be quite beautiful, and what you're trying here to actually. The whole
Beautiful.
point of this channel is to create a collective, right?
Yeah,
Anyway.
bring awareness is what we're doing here. But I
Mm.
liked what you got there, the four of wands, which is a 22, which is about partnership. And this is a 22 card. This is called Juron Sasha, which is basically like a tower card. And it says Mother Earth wants you to watch your back. There's radical change and breakdown coming. Remember that the darkest of energies that bring crisis or unforeseen changes can be transmuted into benevolence. Even the strongest of poisons can be medicine. The first step is neutralizing, is recognition, recognizing that the system is fucking broken. It is not serving anybody here. It's not serving anybody that except for the few people that own that system. It's not the people's system. It's the magic money system of the Babylonian rulers of the past. So let's get that straight. The second step is removing the fear and insecurity. So how do you do that? You empower yourself. You get knowledge. You start learning how to look after yourself. Look at whether it's educating yourself, whether it's going to your own, being your own doctor, learning about what real health represents. The third step is reconstruction of the self. So that's part of it right there. You have to actually start to walk the path and examine your life from a third person perspective. Draw upon universal forces to transmute the environment, people, or situations that are depleting your life force. There you go. I love that. I know you guys love that too. And I love all you guys.
Perfect. Oh, you are
Marcia,
muted,
you're
Mark.
muted. Yeah.
Thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed our kind of perspectives on abundance and our perspectives of silver moving forward in this world here, this beautiful world that we live in, and we contracted to come and experience everything and manifest and become our divine nature of magic. Right. So, yeah, we will catch you next time. Follow along. Send us any comments on what you want us to pull on next. And we will catch you in the next video.